I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And it is Ladies Week.
Sparky, Salty, Jeff.
Oh, that's Sparky.
The crew. The crew says hey.
Crew in the back representing. Yeah, so we have, this is Lady Night.
Yeah, this is a new one. I should be introducing all these shows.
Yeah, you should be.
I should be, but I never know what we're doing. The Poet and the Pendulum.
Shout out to,
Nightwish.
Yeah, Nightwish has been like very, very highly requested.
It has.
So.
What hasn't? There's so many things that have been so highly requested.
Yeah, that's true.
We're doing our best. 2 shows a day, guys.
I know. Have some mercy.
I feel like, did you guys ever play, what's that, the Oregon Trail back in the day? We're at a grueling pace here.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You set the pace too much, little kids would die and all that shit.
Your wife was bit by a snake
Yeah.
and you keep going fast.
Yeah. What a terrible song. I mean, video game. That was such a traumatic video game, for real.
Do you want me to stop? Oh, we keep going? Vin's double timing because he's got 2 jobs here, so.
I just told him,
have some mercy.
Shut up, leave me alone. Yeah, so this is going to be very interesting. The Poet and the Pendulum. So I guess, so Nightwish was a band, I've heard one song from them from like years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're like, kind of like, she's operatic vocally, although this is a new singer, I don't know. But anyway, they had this girl, was a singer, she was amazing. I guess she left the band or they kicked her out or something like that. Really ugly breakup. And I guess the guy that wrote the lyrics for this song was like really depressed about it or whatever because they knew each other in high school.
Oh.
Can you imagine knowing somebody in high school, starting this big successful band and then
you know what's gonna be weird?
Then a breakup. That sucks.
I have not watched, obviously, a band long enough to be able to get those emotional, deep connections with them and then have them break up. But I feel like when I was thinking about it, I was like, it must be something similar to a child that goes through their parents divorcing. It's kind of like your world, and like you have this world, and then all of a sudden when they break up, like it's gonna be really tough on people. Mm-hmm. I started thinking about it with the whole dime bag thing because some people were saying, oh, it's because the band broke up and so it was like a disgruntled, fan, which is insane, but
yeah.
But I was like, there's got to be some mad, crazy emotional response when your band, that's it. They broke up. Now there's no more songs.
Especially if it's well, I mean, they went on. They kept going, and
it's not the same.
She kept going, but I don't know. This new,
it's not the same.
I think her name is Fleur. Is her name? People are kind of like warming up to her and stuff. I mean, they like her, but yeah. I mean, it's tough. Like, Korn has a new drummer, and the drummer is a badass. He's great, but I still miss seeing the original lineup,
Yeah. Even if they can play
Korn.
exactly the same.
Yeah, well, yeah, the guy's a badass, but I just miss seeing David there, like...
Yeah. I can imagine. I mean, I don't know what it's like, but I can imagine.
Yeah. So I think that this is what this is about. The Poet and the Pendulum. Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. We're up.
toilet had too long been without silence. He was found naked and dead, with a smile on his face, pen and 1,000 pages of erased text.
Well done. I like the theatrical nature of the song.
Man, that was an epic. You know how people always say, "Oh, this is an epic song."
Yeah, epic is the word.
This is like the definition of epic.
It was very theatrical. I
Yeah.
felt like I was watching, like, I felt like I was in the theater and the curtains rose and...
It must be a really crazy thing to go to a Nightwish show.
Yeah.
Like, this is now on my bucket list to
Oh, for sure.
to go to a Nightwish show.
Absolutely.
Because if they can pull this shit off live, I guarantee you it'll be
Epic.
a really like crazy
I
experience.
totally agree. The atmosphere,
Yeah, the atmosphere must be magical.
because you could feel atmosphere here, and it was just coming through these little speakers, you know?
Yeah. Well, these are powerful speakers. They're back speakers.
It's not like being in the live show.
Yeah,
Oh.
golly, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to look it up. Maybe reach out to some of our contacts because we gotta. I mean,
I
God
totally
Almighty.
agree. Totally agree.
I mean, I'll get to the song in a second, but it was just like, there were segments to the song, and good Lord.
Yeah. I was like, at first, like, trying to, like, hear the words, and then after I was like, right now, it would be awesome to have this blasting and to be just, like, chilling back in the grass and just, like, watch the clouds, close your eyes, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna chill back and just
I'd rather do it at night.
Sure, but it's daytime right now, so I don't want to wait for night. But you're right, at night would be awesome.
That'd be
Yeah.
some
Stars.
some DMT.
Especially, I was thinking if there was like a comet show, like when all of a sudden there's that time where
Oh
there's
yeah.
time zone.
Yeah, there was that time that there were comments. Well, you can ride on some comments on the DMT.
Sure.
Right.
I'm not doing that. I'm too controlling for that. No way. Nobody's taking me on no fucking ride to the Jester.
Vin and Sori do not
advise.
advocate for the use of DMT or any other such substance. Viewer discretion is advised.
Right.
Okay. So this is such an interesting song, like the way that he talked about the situation. Because my sources tell me that this song was written about the situation with their other singer. I think her name was Tarja or something like that. Mm-hmm. A widowed writer.
Yeah.
That was he lost his other part. They were never together.
Well, I'm confused because it says at the beginning the blade fell upon him.
Yeah.
I thought the person that left was the girl.
Yeah, but this is the impact that her leaving and the jihad that ensued around it.
Oh my word! Obviously.
Had on him.
Okay.
Right.
Oh well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The songwriter's dead.
He was obviously very connected to this person. Like this is some poetic.
Yeah,
shit
he loved
here.
Yeah. Apparently, if I'm looking at this contextually, he really loved her.
Yeah. My God. I'm pleased that he's not married. If you wrote something like this, I'd be like, what the fuck? I don't care how much money we're gonna make. We need to talk about this.
I'm pretty sure they were not together.
No, I'm saying if he's
But he
married,
calls himself a widowed writer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dreamer and the wine, a poet without a rhyme. Like without her, he's like a poet without a rhyme.
I know. Yeah.
He's a widowed writer.
She was his muse. It sounds like.
Yeah. One last perfect verse. Is still the same old song. Oh Christ, how I hate what I've become. It's very interesting because a lot of people use Christ as it's sort of like a expletive, but I don't think that that's what's going on here because
he says the two faces, one for the world and one for God.
Right, and he asks God to save him because right after one for God, he says save me, and then he talks about the two robbers on the right side of Christ. So, I don't think he's using Christ in a trite way here. But it is true. Like if you were when you lose somebody like that, I mean, I can't imagine like doing that. Like I could never. Like if you were gone and you said I'm not doing Vin and Sori anymore, it's not like I could say, all right, well we'll keep up with the channel. Like
Vin show.
I don't even know how he can continue with the. Like I'm just projecting myself onto him. Like I wouldn't be able to continue the channel.
But it wasn't just him and her. There were other people in the band.
Right,
so
it's a whole band.
If we had a show that was 5 or 6 people, like I think that if I was gone off the show, you would be sad.
It'd be the end of the show.
It'd be the end of the show.
Show's over. Khalas.
Well, you heard it here first.
Let that be a lesson to you. Don't join the Vin and Sori. We're thinking about expanding and hiring people and stuff like that once we get big enough. But yeah, I mean that's you better hope we stay together. We will. We got this. Boom. Yeah. So the first. So it's like the white lands of Empathica.
What's Empathica?
Was
it just a made-up word?
He made up.
Okay, I mean, I understood what it meant, but I didn't know if it was like something that has some.
It seems
background.
like he's being executed, and it seems like he feels like he's being executed in the court of public opinion. It seems, and I think I don't know. Like during the breakup, maybe they took. I was reading a little bit in Wikipedia where she said she was going to quit the band or leave the band, and she's gonna make one more record, and then like she shot like a DVD or something, and then they wrote a public letter and kicked her out of the band, and basically said you're money hungry, blah 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 blah. So I think it was so ugly that people took her side, probably. Which, she's the only girl in the band, they say this crazy shit about her, they kick her out, and she says, wait a second, that's not true. And he's probably getting the brunt of the, the situation. And I'm sure, anytime you go through those situations, you always say to yourself, if I had to do it over again, I'd say something different.
Yeah. That's
why I don't make public statements when I'm in the middle of jihad with people.
Why, you've been in jihad before?
I've been in lots of. I am like I'm like a veteran mujahid. I've been through a lot of jihad. I've been through a lot of jihads. None of them fi sabilillah. But it's true. Like if I'm right, he probably said some stuff that he didn't mean or whatever. Or the band did, and he went along with it. I don't know, because they wrote a public, an open letter, basically.
Oh, really?
And basically said she's, all this.
You hear the language that he's using. It's very, very emotional language. And as you know, when somebody's very emotional about a situation, they're more likely to lash out and say things that they're going to regret later because it's coming from an emotional...
Yeah, Christ, I hate what I have become.
Right.
So,
exactly.
If he said something publicly about her,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes in relationships are so broken, the only person that can forgive you is Christ at that point, because the other person's like, especially that's how people are. Like if you bring like a private conflict into the public arena, people are much less likely to be forgiving, than if you were to just keep it, But that's the thing, is now that we have all of these tools to fight with people publicly. It's this famous, show. There's a show that I watch, and they always say, "Don't hit send." And I that's a principle I really take to heart, because you're in the middle of a war, and then you put something up on the internet. Like if me and you were in a fight, and I go, "Blah, you're this," and you go, you're that.
People would eat that.
Well, no, I'm saying if there's no camera, I can take it back. I can say, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean that. You can say, it was a fit of passion.
No, I thought you meant like if you posted it on my Facebook page, and then I wrote back and...
No, but I've seen couples do that. I've seen couples fight online during the days of MySpace. They were... But what have you become? It seems like a lot of this is based on public opinion.
And that's another thing, where the Bible is very practical. Because it says if you have a problem with somebody, you're supposed to go to that person and talk face to face about it. And then if you can't get anywhere, the person's not listening, then you can
bring another person,
bring somebody else,
Yeah,
but you're not supposed to just blast people on.
I think
the difference is if somebody does something publicly or something like that. That would be different.
But he says, he has two faces, one for the world and one for God. And he says, "I, a whore for the cold world, forgive me." Which that's very interesting. That seems to be like a confessional type of thing, because I think in the letter, and this was in Wikipedia, so I don't know if it's true, but they basically said that I think her name was Tarja. I'm not sure, but I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But they said something to the effect of she became in it for the money and she didn't care about the art anymore, or blah blah blah. Which is the worst thing you could ever say to an artist, especially in rock and roll. Is that you're not doing it for the art, you're doing it for the money. And all this.
I mean, they didn't do it as a charity, right? They're all doing it because they're trying to make money. They're trying to make a living off of it.
Yeah, but I guess they were trying to say that she was particularly...
She wants to make too much money?
Particularly, whatever.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I don't know how those things... I mean, it's convenient for us because we're married, so it all goes into one bucket, and you basically spend all the money.
Buying a grill for you for Father's Day.
So, I appreciate it. So maybe he's saying, a whore for the cold world. Maybe he's saying he shouldn't have let the money get in between him and her's relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because a whore for the cold world.
Yeah.
So a whore is she's giving herself and they're taking from her, and you know what I
Well-
mean? Like, so I wonder, like, but he became a certain thing for the world. Like, what do you think it was, the pressures and the people looking on, and there's this going on, so you got to do something, an ego thing? You think there could be any ego in that?
Well,
Or-
I think if the breakup,
Or do you think it drained so much from him personally, and he allowed that to happen, and so...
well, I think if the breakup did center around how much money, who is getting what money, then he would be basically feeling like that you have this beautiful relationship and now it's broken because you're worried about squabbling about money.
Yeah.
So now you're whoring after the world. You're selling out what's important to you for $1. Or I don't know. I mean, these guys are European, so it'd be a euro.
Yeah.
I cannot cry because the shoulder cries more. That's a good
Yeah,
line.
what?
'Cause you know, shoulder to
shoulder?
cry on. You know,
Yeah.
shoulder to cry on. So she was probably his shoulder to cry on,
That.
and so
So
she's hurt.
she's hurting more than him, so he can't go
Yeah.
on her shoulder anymore.
Yeah, or he could be talking about her in this verse.
Oh, yeah.
Because if the
No, he says, I cannot cry.
yeah, but
because
if he's personifying himself as her in this verse, and then it would go along with the whoring herself out for the world for the money and blah blah blah, and then she not being able to cry because he was her shoulder to cry on,
think
but
so.
he cries more.
I don't think it just switches on that one line.
What do you mean one line? I don't think it's one line.
The save me, one for the world, one for God, save me. I think he's talking about himself. You think he could be talking about the girl at that point?
No, I'm saying that
Then he says, I cannot cry.
from
'cause-
Take Me Home all the way down to the cold
You
world.
think that whole thing could be her?
He could be talking. He could be her. See what I'm saying? He could just be speaking from her voice. It's a literary device.
Yep,
I'm
okay.
just speculating.
That's
it could
possible.
Be, or it could be for both.
I don't think
it could
so,
be for
but-
both of them.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I do see how it's possible.
He says, "Take me home," and what's interesting is at the
If we
very
ever get an
end.
interview, we'll have to ask.
Right. I don't think he's going to talk about this song. It says, "Take me home," and then at the very end it says, "Be still, my son, you're home." So it's probably talking about him. But get away, run away, fly away, lead me astray to dreamers' hideaway. I cannot cry. You know, so he wants to get away from the situation.
Well, and he says to dreamers hideaway.
Uh-huh.
You know, like when you're dreaming and everything's back to normal? Like whatever's messed up in your life, sometimes when you fall
I don't have
asleep
those
and you
types of dreams.
What do you mean?
I don't have those types of dreams when everything's like back to normal.
Yeah, but that's because you haven't had a whole lot of normal. But, like, if something happened to me, you might fall asleep and I might be in your dream.
I doubt it.
Why?
That's just not
How
how.
can-
That's just not how stuff works for me.
Okay, well, the rest of the world, or lots of people that I know, lots of people that I know,
Yeah, he
that's
wants
what
to go
happens
back.
to them.
He
Dreamer's hideaway. Like,
Yeah, he
when you're
wants to-
there, everything's okay.
Yeah. My home was there and then those meadows of heaven. Adventure-filled days. One with every smiling face. Please no more words. Thoughts from a severed head. No more praise. Tell me once my heart goes right. Take me home. So the metaphor in this is that he's strapped and there's a guillotine and all this and he's speaking like as a person. That's why he keeps talking
He's
about the
already
blade.
dead.
He keeps talking about the blade coming down, you know, to chop his head off and all that.
Where? At the beginning? The beginning it
He
said
talks
something
about
about a blade.
the blade and
Fell upon him, so he's already dead because that's why he says that these are words or thoughts from a severed head.
yeah,
So it's already cut off,
yeah.
and so it's not coming. And you're probably right. It's because she was already gone.
But he's tied to an altar basically, and he basically said, "I wish the water would get him before the blade." Basically, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. For years I've been strapped onto this altar. Now I'm only waiting 3 minutes and counting. I just wish the tide would catch me first and give me the death I always longed for.
Which is what?
The tide. He wants
To be drowned instead of have his head cut off?
Right, because it's called the Pacific. Is the scenery.
Well, that's interesting.
I know I will die alone, but loved. That's such a good line.
Yeah. So he knows she still loves him. Is that what you mean?
Well, I think it's probably that, but it's also like, you know, being a rock star. You're loved, but you're alone.
Yeah.
Because people love only certain aspects of you. They don't really know who you are as a person. They don't.
No.
And they don't care. I mean,
They don't try to.
We saw that with the Dimebag situation, right? Where the Dimebag's crime was depriving this dude of Pantera, so he killed him.
Right. In front of his brother.
Right. Where, if you were to see that guy at a Pantera concert, he'd be like, yeah, Dime.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, that guy really loves Dime.
Yeah.
But he's the same. But that's human nature. Like, we're so willing to, it's like Jesus, one day you're, oh, hey, blessed be the name of the Lord, Hosanna, blah, 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 blah. And the next, crucify him. Like, so he's alone, but he's loved. But what's interesting, it says, you live long enough to hear the sound of the guns, long enough to find yourself screaming every night, long enough to see your friends betray you. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Right? That's a big one for him.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson said that one of the toughest, as a psychologist or whatever, counselor, helps people, he says that's the biggest thing for people to get over.
Past is betrayal.
Yeah, from your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Well, I think it's unexpected.
What do you mean by that?
You don't expect your friends to betray you. But you do. But that's because you put the human nature in there. So you're like, well, it's...
That doctrine of human sinfulness is very, very convenient.
But I'm not sure if that's like a better way to live or not. Like, you're walking around thinking at any moment Sori could betray me.
Well, I think everybody is on the continuum of Peter or Judas. Everybody you've ever known, including yourself, is on a continuum of Peter and Judas. So, both of them were traitors.
Right.
One did it just out of plain human weakness. The other did it out of, a dark heart, right?
Yeah.
So, it helps me say everybody has that capacity. So if it happens, you're more quick to be able to decide what you're going to do. And you decide how you manage those people in your life. Is this a Peter or is this a Judas? And if they're a Judas, then be done with them. But if they're a Peter, then you got to forgive it and let it go and move on. And move on with the person. Because both of them betrayed Christ.
Yeah.
And Christ has a relationship with one and not the other. And so I think in the person of Christ, like, I find ways to handle those types of situations. So if you were to do something, I would just chalk it up to just, just human weakness, and we'd find a way to work it out and move on. Like, there's nothing you could do where I'd be like, all right, I'm done with Sori. Nothing. So, but, you got to have people like that in your life, and you also have to be smart and say, well, there's going to be other people that are going to go too far, in which case you just, you just have to make those decisions. But I don't see the point in, like, letting it destroy you. What are you thinking?
You're just such a different person. Like,
what do you mean?
you're like inside my soul in such a way that if you betrayed me, that I don't know if I would come back from that. Like, I don't know how you can have that mindset to think that, like, I don't even want to think, oh, it's possible that Vin could betray me. Like, I can't even bear the thought of that. Mm-hmm. Like, I could cry right now. Mm-hmm. So I'd rather think that's not even possible.
Well, it depends on what your understanding of betrayal is. Like, Peter denied that he knew Jesus. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Judas helped the enemies of Christ get to him. So, I mean, I think when you hear betrayal from me, you're thinking one specific category of what betrayal is.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I have a broader definition of betrayal. It means to go against the standards of friendship, right? That trust that you have in a friend. That reliance that you're supposed to have on your friend. It means to go against it. So, like, in the ghetto, we were in situations where we were rumbling with people and we had people run. They didn't do anything actively against us, but, I mean, that's a form of betrayal. And you got to decide, okay, is this, what do we do with this guy?
Right.
Right? And some of it was, okay, like, you're out. And some of it was just, man, we shouldn't even have put that kid in that situation in the first place. He's not that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I have a different understanding of betrayal in various different forms of betrayal and how it works.
I don't recommend that people, like, I know that you guys weren't a gang, you guys were like a crew.
No, we weren't a gang. I was never a gangster.
Like a crew, whatever. But you guys still kind of, fights and whatnot, like this whole, but I would encourage people to get into like a gang or like that sort of environment, but at the same time it seems like you learned some positive things from that. Well, or do you think that you were already that type of person, and so because it seems like that crew kind of followed a lot of what you were saying on things, so do you think that people just, because I've seen large groups of people that they almost like they become something else when you're around them, like you see the better side. Like, for instance, I've seen people that are actually pretty fearful people do very, very brave things in your presence because something about you makes people feel like, hey, you know what, he's doing it, it's possible, I'm doing it. But then all of a sudden when you're not there anymore, now they're back to their regular self.
Yeah, so what does that have to do with...
So I'm just saying, do you think that the people from that crew or whatever, like...
Well, there were certainly times with certain people where people wanted to say, we need to get at this guy. He didn't show up. He didn't show out. Right. We need to, and I'd say, well, I mean, we shouldn't have put him in that situation. We should have known better than to put him in the situation where, so, I don't know. I've always just, the paradigm of Peter and Judas has always just been...
No, I see what you're saying.
It just clicked for me, and I just said, oh, and that's how I make my decision. And it happens really quickly. It goes, okay, how much of this is just the person's weak in a certain moment? And then you think to yourself, how many times have you betrayed your friends? And I think that's what he's dealing with too. Like, he's talking about his friends betraying him, but I think he's also alluding to the fact that he betrayed his friends. You know what I mean? So, like, anytime we get betrayed by somebody, we always act like it's the worst thing in the world. And like I said, according to Jordan Peterson, it probably is. But it's not like you've never betrayed anyone. Like, you've never been like a completely perfect, faithful friend. You've never been like, only Jesus is, right? That's why he's Jesus, right? Yeah. So, I don't know. And that's why when it gets to the passion play part, second robber to the right of Christ. So that's a good robber. There's a good robber in the back. Decimus is a good robber's name, I think. He's, cut in half infanticide.
I don't understand that.
What do you mean?
Well, why are we saying cut in half infanticide?
Well, he's cut in half because his girl, his friend is gone. So she was the other half of him.
What is infanticide?
Infanticide is when a mother kills her own child. Or a father kills her own child, I guess you could say. So
what does it have to do with the song? And at the end it says, son, you're home.
Well, he's being crucified, I think, in the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
So I think what he's dealing with is the conflict that he had with her being gone, and then how the public is going after him. The crows feast on the rotting poet. Everyone must bear their own. Now packed to bury the heart of stone. Now his home's in hell. Serves him well. Slain by the bell, tolling for his farewell. I like the way he did that too. It was very,
you
very
reacted on that part.
That was very rock. But it was just the cadence was very, very rock and roll.
Oh, okay.
Because it's roll.
Yeah.
It was like dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Pinky. So yeah, I think that this particular part for sure is about performed by his friends without shame, spitting on his grave as they came. Like, that to me seems like how the public treated him after the whole situation, probably. Because anytime you have somebody that's like in an exalted position, people always have a latent resentment towards that, and they do wanna spit on your grave or whatever when you're down. And if you like buy that shit, if you buy that all these people really love you and admire you, and you don't realize human nature and understand that people, as much as they admire you, are also latently jealous of you,
and it hurts
then you get very surprised when this shit happens.
Yep.
But if you know that resentment is always the other side of admiration, you understand why things like this happen. You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
You just have to. But the thing is that people want to buy it because it feels good when
I was
everybody's
gonna
like,
say, it
"Oh,
feels
you're so
good.
awesome," and your friends are, "Oh, you're the greatest, and you're my example," and blah.
And
blah,
the thing
blah, blah,
is,
blah.
some of the times it's because you are doing something pretty awesome. So when
Well,
they're
sure,
saying you're
he's a
awesome,
rock
you're
star.
like, true.
He's a rock star.
Thank you.
But it's interesting is that he doesn't. The robber to the right of Christ says to the other robber, because the robber was mocking him and saying, "If you're the Christ, save yourself and save us." And then the good robber says, the good thief says, "Hey, don't you fear God? We're being punished for our crimes, but this man has done nothing wrong." So he it's a very intelligent line, actually, because what he's saying is he's being crucified in public opinion, but he's not innocent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, and that's a very good way to put it, because, you know, when you say, "Oh, somebody's going to crucify you," usually that takes messianic ideation, but what he's saying is, no, I'm not Jesus. I'm not a completely innocent in the situation, but I am sort of like you should still have some pity on me. I'm the good thief. You know, I recognize I did something wrong, and now you're asking. Now his home's in hell, right? Serves him well, because that's other people's opinion of him. But in actuality, Christ looks at the guy and says, "Today you'll be with me in paradise."
True.
Right? And I think but at the same time, I always say about the good thief, if you would have been his parents, or if you would have come from his town and said, "Hey, you know, he died and all that," and in that condition, you judge him. He's in hell. That's why people always say, "Oh, Hitler's in hell."
Oh no, I hear what you're saying.
How do you know? How do you know all these people are in hell? Who are you to say? You don't know what happened in the last, couple minutes of their walk with God. You can't say that shit.
Right.
You know, but we want the people that we don't like automatically, but it's a very interesting thing. Like, public opinion might be one way, but God maybe views him a different way.
Yeah, it's true, because sometimes, like, these really terrible people, you go to their funeral and, like, they say all these nice things about them. Like,
Right.
I knew this guy, he was so friggin' money hungry. Like, his whole life was about his money. He never had any kids because it was about his money. He didn't want to share with kids. It's like this big thing. And then, like, at his funeral, they were talking about, like, what a religious man he was and all the good that he did for people. I'm like, what the fuck? Does anybody know? Like, everybody knows that's sitting here that this is not true, what's being said. This is crazy. But, when you want to say something, they say, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's somebody we hate, Hitler, we're like, Hitler's in hell.
Right.
But if it's somebody that you, like, have some sort of connection with, you're like, I believe that this man was the most religious man we ever met.
Yeah. It's all people's perception. That's why you have to just go with what God's opinion is of you, and then,
let the rest go.
Because everybody might think you're awesome, and God might say you suck as a person. You need to change here, and here. Or it might be vice versa. Everybody might think you're a scumbag, and God might say, "You know what? I know you're doing your best."
Well, God looks in at our heart. Like, what's our motive?
Right.
That's what it's on. So you can't judge a motive by looking at someone. You can think you know.
Right.
But you don't know.
Yeah.
It sounded like there was a heartbeat at the end of part 4. Hold on. Right there. Doesn't it?
Yeah,
like
you always catch those things. "Be still, my son, your home. When did you become so cold?"
Well, yeah, stuff like that. I think we've got a death analogy here, so that's why we're talking about, temperature. But at the same time, cold, I think, inside. That he could do all the things that he did,
Well, it's interesting. He was found naked and dead.
Yeah, what the heck is that?
In the year of our Lord 2005.
With a smile on his face, a pen, and 1,000 pages of erased text. Do you think that was, like, strange when it was being read? I'm like, what?
Well, that's how they used to talk about people who died. They talk about, like, the state in which they were found and all that.
Sometimes I kind of wish that they still did that, because I don't like not knowing. For some reason, that bothers me. I don't need to know about everybody, but, like, my grandmother, when she passed away, like, I wanted to know, like, was she smiling? Like, how was it? Which I'm sure that depends on if, my grandmother was very old. I wondered if a pen and 1,000 pages of erased text. It's weird because a pen, you can't erase with a pen. Mm-hmm. It's not like they said a pencil. And secondly, the erased text, I just thought was maybe what they thought was going to be their future, and now all of a sudden that was gone. So it's deleted text now because it's something that will no longer be there.
Or maybe, she was his muse, and he's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna be writing anymore. All the art that I had within me is gone. So the text that I could have written is now erased because his reason for music, his reason for writing is done.
Save me. Woo! The blade will keep on descending.
All you need is
crazy.
to feel my love. Yeah, the mother-father part is actually very mysterious to me because he talks about infanticide up top.
Yeah.
And then it's mother and father, and it seems like the mother and father is doing the killing. Because he says infanticide,
I know.
and infanticide is
You know
when,
what I wondered? You know how some people are very influenced by their parents even after, like, they're not living at their parents' home anymore?
Yeah.
Like, I wondered if his parents kind of instigated some of it with him. You know, like when he was talking negatively about it and they were like, ugh, and they kind of egged him on. And then now they become part of that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. In the end, I'll always love you. I think that's like his code to her. You know?
Where does it say that?
At the very, very end, I will always love you.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I talk about it all the time. Certain relationships in your life are going to end, and that doesn't mean you don't love the person.
Right.
You know, so there are relationships in my life that are gone. I'm always going to love them, but that's the end of it.
Mm-hmm. I think that this song was a closure point for him too, because the beginning of the song, it says the end, and the last words of the song is the beginning. So I think it was, okay, this is the beginning of like the next thing, like closing that off and talking about it in that language, his death, and now there's the beginning. So it's a new, that's my guess.
Very possible. Although this is the first song in a 12 song, 14, 15 songs, God almighty.
Maybe if
Bye
this
Bye
is the
Beautiful
first one,
is the next one.
Oh. Yeah. But who knows? I don't know. While your lips are still red. Ooh. Anyway, so I think that
What do you give the song?
Oh man, you know what? The number kept jumping around for me, but I think that, gosh, I think I'm gonna go with a 9.5 actually. Ooh, I don't know. I'm flipping between 9, 9.5, and 10. What are you? Influence me.
No, this is an 8 for me.
Oh, an 8?
This is one of those songs that if I listen to over and over, if I had the patience to listen to over and over again, it would probably get a higher score, but I don't. So it's an 8. It's a solid 8 on the first listen.
See, what's tough is it's long, like Neo, so I can't help but compare.
Right.
And it wasn't Neo to me, but it was very epic.
Well, you don't know about Neo because you've only
For the
listened,
one song.
Right, you've only listened to one Neo song, and you're like
Right.
this lifelong fan.
Okay, but we need to listen to
Where's
another
my
one.
Neo tattoo?
You give it to me now. Okay, I'm gonna go with an. Shoot, oh, that influenced me. It influenced me because.
You're so
Okay, I'm going with a 9.
All right.
8.5. 9. 9.
All right, it's an 8 for me. Ladies Week continues. Good job, good showing, good recommendation.
This is a really long one. If you
Give
made it
us
to the
another
end,
good recommendation. Yeah, if
made
you
it to the end. What number? 35?
35. I think we've
35.
done 35 before.
Okay, so 2.
We gotta
If you made it
actually
to the end, say 2.
we gotta actually do something where you actually win something cool.
Oh, you get in the drawing?
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of drawing or something like that, or points or something. I had this
drawing,
I
they
had
have
this
their
idea.
song.
I actually had this idea of like a point system.
Oh.
But it's gonna be a bitch to manage. It's gonna be a really hard thing to
Well,
manage.
maybe
but-
somebody wants to manage it. But we have to find somebody we can trust.
Oh, Carmen. We'll reach out to Carmen.
Yeah, maybe she wants to manage that.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.